Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got such a great project for you today. The other day I got a box of old blocks, and in that box were these. Are these not absolutely darling? Well, there were 6 of them, and they just made me smile so big, and I loved them. They were just so happy, and I decided that I would make my next quilt based on these blocks. So I decided to call it the Vintage Daisy. And so let's take a look at this quilt behind me. Isn't this fun? I just think it's so fun, and it's a quick and easy project, and I can hardly wait to show you how to make it. So to make this quilt, you're going to need 1 packet of 10-inch squares, and I have used Folk and Lore by Moda fabrics. You're going to need some background fabric, about 3 2/3 yards, and I've just used a cream that will blend. Your border fabric right here, you're going to need 1.25 yards for your border, and it's a nice big 6-inch border. And your backing right here, you're going to need 4.5 yards of a 45, and if you use a 108, you're going to need 2.25 yards. You're also going to need 1 packet of So Light Fusible, and you're going to need some invisible thread, and you're going to need the small orange peel template, and that will be helpful. And we will also have a printable for you. And it makes a quilt that is 73 by 73. And so it just comes out so cute. You can see I quilted it with the flower pano quilt pattern. And let me just show you this back because it's beautiful. This is a beautiful line of fabric with some great florals in it. And I just really had fun making it, and I can't wait to show you how. So let's get to that. So I seriously was so happy when I got these. These are so cheerful. They just made me smile. There were 6 of them, which isn't quite enough to make a quilt, but I decided that since I needed another quilting idea, that this Folk and Lore fabric was just going to be perfect for this, this pattern. And so I took a look at how this was made, and I decided to go for our orange peel template. It's almost the same size. I mean, almost. These are a little bit fatter and a little bit bigger, but I decided to just go with it and use it. Your center circle right here, you're going to want to choose what works for you. I am a girl of, I just figure it out. So a lot of times I'll use my coffee cup or my button coaster. I found a bag of round templates, and so I'm using that one for my template. And they have painstakingly, you can see, and you're welcome to do this, sewed all of these down by hand. This is all little hand sewing. I, of course, decided that I would just applique them with some So Light Fusible. And so you're going to want to cut 8 petals out, and 2 of them, they're going to be 2 different colors. So when you go through your pack, put your fabrics together so that you have lights and darks together, some contrasting fabrics, and then we're going to pick a circle for the middle. Now I'm going to show you how I did this. Also, you're going to need a big 16-inch background square, and you're going to want to cut those. And there are 16 blocks on here, 4 by 4, and so you'll just want to cut 16 of these from the background squares. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to take our 10-inch square, and we are going to take a piece of 10-inch of our So Light Fusible, and we're going to iron it onto the back. So let's go ahead and iron on that piece of fusible to our square. And you're going to do this. It takes 2 squares to make a flower. So I'm not being too terribly careful with it. Just cut a 10-inch square and iron it on. You'll have a lot of scraps with these. Some of my later squares were just all scraps. I just kind of, put them all together. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to lay our little template right here, keep it close to the edge, and we're going to stack them up like this. One more here. And then we're going to come back over here, and we're going to lay this one over here like this. Try to keep it as close to the edges as we can. Now you don't need, if you get 4 of these and a circle, you won't need all those circles, but I thought it was kind of cool how you could get 4 petals and a circle out of each square. Who knows, you may want to go back and make a circle quilt. All right, so now I'm just going to cut these out, and I like to cut them out with a scissor. You can use a rotary cutter if you're super careful, and you can actually use a rotary cutter around the template. But I'm kind of old school about this, and I just like my scissors. So we're just going to take a minute and cut these out. Now, I will not be using that circle with this block because I want my circle to stand out. You can see on the flowers behind me, the circle's a different color than the two fabrics I picked for the petals. Now, I'm also not blunting my ends of my petal. I'm just cutting them straight to the points. And you can see they have a little blunt ends on here. And I've drawn them, but I'm not going to cut them blunt. I'm going to make them pointy at the ends. And if I have one end that, you know, is blunt, it'll go to the middle. There's that. All right, so I have my other set of petals cut, and then comes the fun part. You just get to play and you get to put them together. And I have a center cut here from another block that I think will look beautiful in the middle. And so I'm going to scoot these out of the way, and I'm going to take my piece here. I have two actually. Let me just pull one of these over here. And I'm going to fold it in half. To get my center line here, you can finger press it or use your iron. And I'm going to finger press this again. So I'm doing both sides. Let's just use the iron. I don't have great fingernails, so we'll just use that iron. All right, and so now look at this. This one right here is overlapped. The petals are overlapped. And so if you look at my quilt back here, some of them are overlapped, and some of them I stood them out. I put the darker ones behind and the lighter ones in front. This one is overlapped. So I was trying different things as I went along just to see, you know, how I liked it. And some of the ones that had really standout colors, you know, I liked seeing them go back and forth. So we're just going to peel these, and we're just going to start laying them out. And once I get these peeled, I think I'll lay them out on my ironing board so I don't have to move it. And I just generally roll the end of these to get that sticky to come off. And this one, see this one, I have 3 little pieces sewn on. So I used all my scraps. Because it doesn't matter that it covers the whole surface. What matters is that you're tacking it in place, because we are going to sew it down with the sewing machine. All right, here's my last petal. And then this is the center I'm going to use here. I'm going to use this light blue. I think that'll be really pretty. All right, so everybody can see. Let's move this ironing mat over to the middle. We'll just slide this on here and pull this over here. And then we're going to go ahead and we're just going to start laying it out. Now, I tried all kinds of things with this. So you have one going this way. And you have to kind of watch. You want to make sure that all of the ends of your petals are the same distance from your corners. And so you're just going to kind of lay them in like this. And these ones, this is the overlap look, like this. And you want to just keep the overlap going the same distance as you're going around. Like that. See how that's overlapping? But then if you want to do the other one, what you can do is you can stick these petals in here. So let's put our light ones in first. This is where it steps from the, you know, the light to the dark is going to step out to the middle. Oh. Now see, this one has the blunt end, so I'm making sure it goes to the middle. I'm watching out here to make sure this, I'm not concerned about what's happening in here, but I'm watching out here to make sure this is about the same distance away. And this one here, and this one here. And so I found a lot of these went together for me. Let's see, this one is a little bit high. They went together for me better this way, where they laid over each other. I also discovered at one point that if you're really careful with this middle, you can make a little star in here. But it was so hard to get it consistent that I just decided I would just cover that up with a circle. All right, so let's take a look at our flowers here. So see how this one, these darker ones step back and these ones, lighter ones, are over in the middle. This one is overlapped. And I think it's okay to have both kinds. Play with it and see what you like. See if if your different fabrics react differently to something. And so what I'm going to do now is I have it all the way I want it. Make sure, oh wait, one little thing right here. This guy has a blunt end out here to the middle. So we are going to look, oh, he has two blunt ends. So I'm actually going to sharpen him. Give him a point out here. Because I don't want a blunt end out there. Stick it under. Make our flower grow just a little bit. I think that looks good. You guys good? All right, let's press it down. So I'm just going to set my iron on here and hold it for a few seconds. And we'll do that all the way across. If you iron back and forth this way, you have the risk of moving your pieces. So we just want to kind of press it instead of iron it. And it should stick fairly good. Our heat and bond it works pretty good. So once you get all your pieces ironed on, then we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch them down. And you can use any stitch you want. I like to use invisible thread on this so I don't have to change my thread for every flower. If you use invisible thread on the top, you just use a regular bobbin. You don't have to change your bobbin out. It's just the same. And so then what we're going to do is we're just going to head over, and you can use a little zigzag or a buttonhole stitch or whatever you'd like to sew this. I start with my middle circle first, and I just go around to the middle circle, and I'm going to just lower my presser foot. So I would suggest before you start sewing this that you look at the stitch you want and you test it. Some machines like this one have a screen where it shows you exactly what it looks like as it gets wider or smaller, but you'll want to test that out because it's better to be sure than to have to pick. All right, hang on. I'm going to make mine just a little bit wider. And you're just going to go around all of these petals and stitch them on. Because it's invisible, it's just really cool. You don't have to change your thread or anything like that. And you just are going to sew along. When I get to the end, I just lift up my presser foot and I just turn it and come back down the other side. So what you guys are going to do is you're just going to go ahead and stitch over all your petals. You're going to adhere all 16 of your blocks, and you're going to have a stack of blocks here, and you're going to put on a good audiobook or whatever you listen to, podcasts or whatever, and you're just going to sit and sew and enjoy this process, because this is what makes the flower last and stay on. And so I want you to come back here and take a look at these. Now, I don't know if you can see this quilting very well. This is beautiful quilting. This pattern is called Panto Flower. But you don't have to worry too much about getting everything perfect on here because we're going to quilt right over the top of this. And we are going, the quilting is going to hold this down if nothing else. Probably even if you didn't take the time to sew around the edges, the quilting would still hold it down. Now, one of the things I want to show you is I put together 4 of these small blocks because there was 6. 6 doesn't make a great quilt, but 4 makes a really cute wall hanging. And so I just sewed these 4 together, just like we're going to sew them together behind us. And I quilted right over the top of them. And I think people a lot of times are afraid to quilt over a vintage top. And I just think it looks so beautiful. I used a little quilting pattern called Flutterby. I think it's just really cute. It comes together so cute. And this backing right here, obviously it didn't come with the backing, but in the Mercantile, our quilt shop, the Mercantile, we have fabric that looks very much like 30s fabric. It's reproduction fabric. And so we got this great piece. All I did was use a little bit of the backing for the binding. And I have a cute little wall hanging for my little space by my front door where I put those wall hangings. I just think that's really fun. So let's come back here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So it takes 2 squares to make each block. So we have 16 times 2, 32 squares, and you've got your quilt. Put a little border on it, and it just comes together so fun. So I really enjoyed being inspired by my mail that day. I think this is adorable. It made me happy. I recreated it for you. I hope it makes you happy as well. And we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the vintage daisy from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. Hey everybody! Every week I give you a new idea and we are almost 1 million quilters strong. So join us every Friday for a new tutorial, and if you haven't clicked or subscribed, make sure you do that today. See you on Friday.